One Piece fans, have you ever wondered what would happen if Roronoa Zoro, the right-hand man of the future Pirate King, had been the one to lead the Straw Hat Pirates instead of Monkey D. Luffy? It might seem like an odd idea at first. After all, Luffy's charisma and dream drive the crew. But what if things had played out differently? Let's dive into an alternate timeline where Zoro takes the helm as captain and see how the world of One Piece would change dramatically. 1. How would Zoro even become captain? Luffy and Zoro's meeting was fate, but imagine if it had gone another way. What if Luffy, due to some twist of fate, never made it to Shellstown, or if he failed to rescue Zoro from Captain Morgan? In such a scenario, Zoro, after freeing himself, could have set out alone, searching for crewmates to help him achieve his dream of becoming the world's greatest swordsman. Now here's where it gets interesting. Zoro has always respected strength above all else. He may not have been actively seeking a crew, but as he traveled, strong individuals might have been drawn to him. Unlike Luffy, who recruits based on heart and instinct, Zoro would gather a crew based on battle prowess and discipline. 2. The crew under Zoro's leadership, Zoro as captain, would mean an entirely different kind of Straw Hat crew. Some members might remain the same, but others could change. Nami would likely still join, but under different circumstances. Zoro's practical nature would make him more cautious about trusting her at first, leading to a more strained but ultimately strong alliance. Sanji, who has a rivalry with Zoro, might not have joined at all. Their constant clashes could have prevented a mutual understanding from forming, leaving the crew without a cook, unless another fighter chef like Frankie stepped in. Usopp may or may not have joined, as Zoro isn't as carefree as Luffy when it comes to taking in weaklings. However, Zoro does respect bravery, so if Usopp proved himself, he could have earned his spot. Robin, Frankie, Brook, and Jinbei would all have different interactions with Zoro's crew. Robin, for instance, may have been more cautious in joining, since Zoro lacks Luffy's blind trust. This would make the crew much more battle-focused and serious, less about adventure and more about achieving dominance. 3. Zoro's leadership style. Strength over freedom. Luffy's leadership is built on freedom and fun. Zoro, however, believes in strength, discipline, and loyalty. The crew under his command would resemble something closer to a samurai brotherhood. This means fewer moments of carefree joy, but a tighter unit in terms of battle cohesion. Zoro is also known for his unwavering loyalty. His leadership would instill a strict code among his crew. Betrayal or disloyalty wouldn't be tolerated. However, this brings up a crucial problem. Zoro is not a dreamer like Luffy. His own goal is deeply personal, becoming the world's greatest swordsman. And while he respects the dreams of others, he doesn't naturally inspire people the way Luffy does. This could mean that his crew lacks the same deep emotional bond that the real Straw Hats share. 4. How would Zoro handle major battles? Zoro's combat ability is undisputed, but his approach to battle is completely different from Luffy's. While Luffy improvises and thinks outside the box, Zoro relies on sheer skill and endurance. Let's consider how key battles would have changed. Arlong Park. Without Luffy's emotional connection to Nami, Zoro would have needed a more logical reason to fight Arlong. While he despises cruelty, his focus might have been on defeating Arlong out of sheer warrior's duty rather than personal investment. Enies Lobby. Luffy's declaration of war against the world government for Robin's sake was an emotional high point. Would Zoro have done the same? He likely wouldn't have led a direct assault, but instead taken a more strategic, surgical approach, perhaps eliminating CP9 members in stealthier battles rather than waging full war. Marineford. Zoro might not have even gone to rescue Ace. Unlike Luffy, he isn't driven by familial bonds in the same way. He might have deemed it a foolish mission and focused on his own objectives instead. 5. Would Zoro still reach Laugh Tale? Here's the biggest question. Could Zoro, as captain, even reach Laugh Tale? Unlike Luffy, who is guided by adventure and fate, Zoro lacks the same reckless curiosity. Without Luffy's drive, would they have ever sought out the One Piece? Or would Zoro's crew have instead pursued personal glories, becoming the strongest pirate crew without necessarily seeking the legendary treasure? While Zoro is an incredible leader in battle, his version of the Straw Hat Pirates might not have been as unified in purpose. The dream of finding the One Piece and changing the world might have never truly existed in his heart the way it does in Luffy's. Final thoughts. A crew of warriors, not dreamers. If Zoro had been captain, the Straw Hat Pirates would have been a force to be reckoned with. Unstoppable warriors, disciplined fighters, and legends in their own right. However, the essence of One Piece would have been fundamentally different. Instead of a story about dreams, adventure, and friendship, it would have been a tale of honor, battle, and discipline. Zoro, as captain, would lead the strongest crew, but would they ever have found the One Piece? Or would they have simply become another powerful pirate crew lost in history? What do you think? Would a Zoro-led crew have made it to Laugh Tale, or would the story of One Piece have taken an entirely different course?